Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew Santowski. It's 2023 now. I'm back giving you another UFC prediction video. First UFC event of 2023. We've had a 4-week hiatus, but it's all right, man. That time went by fast. And now we're starting off a new year with kind of a lackluster fight card, in my opinion, but here we go. UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Imavov. Takes place today, Saturday, January 14th, 2023. Prelims start at 4. Going down from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, first fight up, Jimmy Flick against Charles Johnson. Jimmy Flick, man, he made his short, he made a retirement, man. I want to say a couple years ago. Yeah, it was. A couple years ago, this guy retired. And he was kind of getting his butt handed to him by Cody Durden. Came back and got a sub on him later in that first round, but he took a hellacious beating. He's going up against Charles Johnson, man. This guy's been very active since he signed to the UFC. Like I said, this guy took on Mohamed Mokaev in London, I believe in July, in his first UFC fight, man. I mean, you got to give the guy props for that, and he held his own. He beat Zhalgas Zhumagulov by split decision in a really closely contested fight. He's going against Jimmy Flick here. I'm going to give the edge to Charles Johnson, man. Anytime a guy retires and then he comes back, you got to think, is there a financial incentive? What's the reason this guy's coming back? Does he just miss the sport this much? Because he was sure eager to retire, but sometimes stepping away from something, man, that might have, reignited his passion for the game. But I'm going to side with Charles Johnson here, man. Just the more active guy. He's definitely shown that he can hold his own against top-level competition. So I'm going to side with Charles Johnson here by decision. Daniel Argueta against Nick Aguirre. I'm not too familiar with these guys. Okay, he fought on the June 4th card, which is that Rosenstreich-Volkov card. Lost to Damon Jackson. No shame in losing to Damon Jackson. We've seen how good Damon Jackson has looked lately, and Damon Jackson fights on this card as well. And I know Argueta is a huge favorite in this fight against Nick Aguirre. This guy looks like he fought out of Anthony Pettis' promotion, but I'm going to side with Aguirre here to win this fight. Let me pull up the odds. Best fight odds. All right. So Argueta is a minus 550 in this fight on BetOnline. Alan Nascimento against Carlos Hernandez. I don't know how Nascimento makes the flyweight limit. This guy looks huge. In his win over Jake Hadley, the guy he was a beast on him, man. He just really roughed him up. And he's going up against a guy in Carlos Hernandez who's on an 8-fight winning streak. Beat Victor Altamirano by decision last February. So this guy hasn't fought in almost a year. I'm going to side with Nascimento, man. This guy is just huge for flyweight. Let's see what the betting odds say. He's a minus 315. Give me Nascimento here. Mateus Rebecki against Nick Flory. Rebecki was just a buzzsaw on the Dana White Contender Series, man. I can't believe that was already in August. 5 months have gone by. And here he is making his UFC debut against Nick Fiore. Nick Fiore, 10-fight winning streak, 25 years old. Again, I think he was just signed to the UFC. Don't know if Rebecki had a previous appointment. Yeah, he did. Omar Morales. He pulled out. So this guy is a late notice signing. The betting odds, Rebecki minus 800. I'm going to side with Rebecki here, man. But I'm sure Rebecki isn't going to look like a minus 800 favorite, man. This Fiore guy, he's 6-0 for a reason, Abdul Razak Al Hassan against Claudio Riberio. Al Hassan, man, he's really kind of disappointed me in his last couple fights. This guy's getting older. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. He hasn't fought in a year against Joaquin Buckley, and God, it just seems like the guy's fought more recently than that, but no. Again, this was a closely contested fight. I'm just not really high on Buckley Nice head kick win over Rico. Lost to Malkoun. No shame in that. We know how good Jacob Malkoun is, man. I am high on Malkoun. Claudio Riberio. Oh, God, this guy is a dangerous guy, man. 10-2, 6-fight winning streak. I think he had some crazy knockout on the Contender Series against Ivan Villanova. Yeah, left hook. Red flags. All this guy's fights end in the first round. What did the betting odds say? -117 for Razak. You know what? I am going to side with Razak too. I think I do have Riberio picked right now, but I am going to side with Razak just because anytime a guy has all finishes in the first round, that is highly suspect, man. If this fight gets extended, this guy's going to be in some big trouble, man. Al Hassan, this guy has gone the decision. He used to be a guy that gassed out in the first round. I mean, we've seen this guy lose to Omari Akhmedov, I think way back in 2017 when that happened. You know, Al Hassan was a huge favorite, gassed out, was only used to go in the first round, but this guy's gone to decision multiple times, man. I mean, he has been dragged to decision multiple times, man, and he's still shown heart in these fights. I'm going to side with Al Hassan, man. You know, I don't know if they're necessarily trying to feed Al Hassan to Riberio, you know, but it's definitely a test. It's definitely a test to see whether this Al Hassan is still, you know, capable of being in the UFC. But I'm gonna give Al Hassan the benefit of the doubt right now. But I understand the hype on Riberio. I understand what the UFC is trying to do. You know, they're matching an action fighter up against another action fighter. So I'm gonna side with Al Hassan. Mateus Bendanka against Javid Basharat. I'm really high on this Basharat, man. This guy, 14-fight winning streak, just keeps beating name recognized guys, man. Trevin Jones and Tony Gravely are two great wins, man. This guy is talented, and he is from Afghanistan. Mateus Bendanka, I'm not familiar with this guy. He was on the Contender Series, beat Ashia Kajim. Don't remember that fight, but he Pedro Nobre, who used to be in the UFC, I believe. I am going to side with Javid Basharat here to pick up the win. Umar Nurmagomedov against Ronnie Barcelos. Gotta side with Umar here, man. This guy is just uber talented, man. Beat Nate Maness, Brian Kelleher, Sergey Morozov. He just makes it look easy with his grappling, man. And Ronnie Barcelos, I think he just got back in the winning column his last fight against Trevin Jones. Gonna have to do more than that to impress him, man. They're kind of just giving him to Umar here for Umar to boost his record. Ketlin Vieira against Raquel Pennington. I've been kind of impressed by Raquel Pennington's recent resurgence. I know her girlfriend Tisha is pregnant or whatever. They're expecting a child sometime within the next year. 34. She's on a 4-fight winning streak, man, and I'm just really impressed. Because she's beat some good games. Aspen Ladd, she sent Aspen Ladd back into the PFL. Beat Macy Shiazan in a tough fight. Beat Pani Kinazad. I'm just really high on Raquel right now. Ketlin, I think, is coming off that Holly Holm win, isn't she? Yeah, she is. She hasn't fought since May, so she's had a nice streak herself. So this is a nice under-the-radar fight. And Ketlin beat Misha last November of 2021. So I'm going to side with Raquel here. But, man, this is a good fight. Really good fight. Because Ketlin's really getting that 5-round experience. So I'm going to side with Raquel. But maybe Ketlin is the play here. Let me see what the odds say. Yeah, you know what? I am gonna side with Ketlin here. So my pick will be Ketlin. I guess I've kind of just overlooked some of her recent victories because I know the Holly Holm one. People think Holm should have won, but I mean she's beating some good girls here, man. You know, Raquel's kind of just beating some girls just a little further back in the ladder than her. You know, Aspen, Macy. You know, two girls that have a hard time even making the bantamweight limit. Punahali Soriano against Roman Kopylov. I want to side with I'm going to side with Soriano here, man, but I just got this feeling to not trust this guy, man. He beat Dolce, but this guy has lost some really bad fights. Roman Kopylov, he's another guy that you really can't trust, man. This guy, he might start strong, fade, and then kind of come back in the third, but I'm going to give Soriano the benefit of the doubt here, man. He's fighting in Vegas, his hometown. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Ige against Jackson, another toughly fight to pick. A lot of money coming in out of Ige. I'm gonna side with Jackson, man. Ige is on a 3-fight skid. All right, all against really good competition. Musar Evloev, Emmett, Chan Sung Jung, right? All really amazing competition, absolutely amazing. Damon Jackson, this guy's really surprised me, man. I've never thought this guy would be back in the UFC ever. 22-4, won no contest. This guy's really impressed me. 4-fight winning streak, man. You guys remember when he beat Mirsad Bektic, man? This guy just comes back and wins fight. Look at the guys he's beat, man. This is one impressive guy here, man. And you know what? You're giving me a fight between a guy in a 3-fight skid and a 4-fight winning streak. I'm going to take the guy in the 4-fight winning streak. Even if I do feel like, Dan Ige is a more talented guy. The fact is, he's lost 3 straight, man. Damon Jackson's won 4 straight. Not saying it's going to play out like this in this fight, but, man, I'm not going to discount Damon Jackson, man. Until he loses. If he loses the Ige, then, yeah, I'll reassess. But right now, I'm going to side with Damon Jackson here to pick up this win over Ige. But this is a really good co-main event. Really good co-main event, guys. So I'm going to take with Damon Jackson, but I look forward to just seeing this fight, and whoever wins, wins. But for a pick, I'm gonna side with Damon Jackson. And you know what, guys? I am gonna side with Claudio Riberio here. You know what? I just think maybe he does catch Al Hassan. So I am gonna side with Riberio here. I'm gonna leave that pick the same. The Pennington Vieira fight. You know what? I'll keep my pick on Pennington. So, I'll keep my pick on Pennington. Strickland against Imavov. Imavov was training for Gastelum. He pulled out. Again, I'm not really impressed by a lot of these guys' wins. The Shabazian win's nice. That was before Shabazian moved camps, took some time away. Strickland, what worries me is that he's lost his last 2 fights. He's gone 5 rounds, and he's taken this fight on very short notice against Imavov, a guy that was training for 5 rounds against Kelvin Gastelum. Hopefully, Sean Strickland isn't stepping into this fight not training, not giving a fuck about the outcome. Because Sean Strickland, let's not take away from his last 2. This guy, he headlined 11 months ago against Jack Hermanson and clearly beat him 49-46, 50-45. Shouldn't have been a split. No shame in losing to Alex Pereira, Jared Cannonier. This guy gets too cocky. He lets fights slip out of his hands. Hopefully this guy's in the right spot, right place mentally. Hopefully he's taking Imavov seriously. He weighed in 10 pounds heavier. It was a 205-pound weight limit. They both made weight, but Imavov chose to come in 10 pounds lighter. I'm going to side with Sean Strickland here, man. This guy has really good stand-up. He's a really good fighter. And if he takes this fight serious, he should win this fight. So my plays my picks are, guys, Sean Strickland, Damon Jackson, Soriano, Pennington, Nurmagomedov, Basharat, Riberio, Rebecki, Nascimento, Argueta, Johnson.